Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and it's my pleasure and privilege to be here today. Our show is the crucial role of honeybees in our ecosystem. I want to give a big shout out to all of our viewers and listeners around the world watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Roku Worldwide, Amazon Fire, and so many more. We really do appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. Joining me today is the star of our show. Her name is Pet Psychic AMINAH, and she's been with me since the very beginning. I think this is our 67th show, something like that. And it's kind of interesting how we met. I'll just give you a quick overview and then tell you a little bit about her, and then we'll be bringing her out. So when I first started the platform, the show was called Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. And I had an in-person television show. I also had a radio show. And then I was doing Facebook Lives and YouTube Lives. And I wanted to have a show with a psychic. So I went over to LinkedIn and I did a search about psychics in the United States, and she was one of the many people who came up, and we connected. We did a Zoom call, and we instantly just had so much in common. And over the course of all of the shows that we've done over the years, I have to say, I personally have been transformed because I was ignorant in so many ways when it comes to coexistence and sustainability. So you might say to yourself, what does a pet psychic have to do with coexistence and sustainability? Well, we are multifaceted people, aren't we? So Pet Psychic AMINAH not only helps people communicate with their animals and also with loved ones, she also is a trainer. She's a public speaker, and she has extensive experience caring for animals. And so she's very much about the environment. She's very much about this planet. She's very much about us realizing as humans, it's not just all about us. It's not like, oh, I'll just litter. I just will decide I'm not going to recycle. I just will decide that I'm the only being that matters. No, Pet Psychic AMINAH is really passionate about us realizing that not only are we on this planet, but there have been others on this planet for much longer than we have been. And so it's our job, it's our responsibility as humans, as humanity, to look out for all creatures, big and small, because they all play such an important role in our ecosystem. The honeybee has a very special role. And I know there are many of you out there, you're saying, oh, I don't like bees. I'm swatting at bees. I'm killing bees. You've got to stop. You've got to stop, because the role that they play is so important. So we're going to hear more about this from Pet Psychic AMINAH. She's joining us from California. First, we're going to take a break and hear a message from one of our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. So do stay with us. We will be right here with you. This program is brought to you in part by the British School of Excellence and founder, Mr. Philip Sykes. Building confidence, changing lives. Do you share our view that etiquette is a set of modern life skills that are essential for personal and professional success? Join us as an etiquette coach and change people's lives through the power of etiquette and manners. Thank you to our clients for their testimonials on the Train the Trainer program. Our exponential and global growth is so significant that we've evolved from the British School of Etiquette to the British School of Excellence, where we're investors in people. Let us invest in you and your career. Contact us to become an etiquette coach. Go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Start your career and elevate your success today. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. We're talking about the honeybee. Bees are pollinators, much like butterflies and bats and some others. Without further ado, let's welcome the star of our show, Pet Psychic AMINAH. Hello, hello. Hello.
Fabulous day.
An incredible beginning, but you weren't here, so.
Wouldn't have to have the fun of as soon as your voice came on, my pictures were great, the background was perfect. I was like, this is great. And then there was two voices.
Oh, we don't need that.
I don't know about you. I can't do hi, how are you? And 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 it's like, okay, she's gonna understand. Bye. We're gonna reload. And
I will tell you a funny story about that, and then we'll get into the topic. I was producing a show. There were 6 people on the show. I was on the show hosting it, and I was producing it, and I had headsets on at the time, and I could hear 4. Every time someone spoke, I heard it 4 times, and then 2 people, I hear 8. I'm like, oh, and I had to do the whole show like that.
And you smile and nod.
And smile.
I'm sure you did.
It's crazy.
Well, I can't. I thought I'm going to see how quick I can hit buttons, and she's going to go, something happened.
No, it was all good. I told people about your background, and I told people about the ecosystem and how we all are accountable and responsible. So what people might not understand is they see a bee, they initially freak out, they start swatting, get out of my way. But the honeybee specifically, as opposed to other types of bees, plays a very important role. Before we get into the role, tell us about honeybees in general. What do we need to know?
That they're truly, truly misunderstood. Yes, they have the ability to sting us and kind of ruin our day because it hurts, or you find out you're allergic and you're rushed to the hospital. But think about things worldwide. A dog could bite you, but are you afraid of every dog? And that's true for some people. But again, there's going to be a something that everybody sees in a row, and it's not just an accident. So let's say you see a mountain lion while you're hiking around in the mountains. Are you going to be concerned? Yeah, probably. Their teeth are bigger than yours. And we can go on and on and on in the natural world. If you are out in a forest and there's a huge hurricane going on or some other weather tragedy, and you hear one of the trees going, are you moving out of the way? Absolutely. So it's not just people and bugs and insects and snakes and all of these things. We have justified and other reasons of why we're afraid. What we're trying to educate and open your eyes that there's another way. So if you hear a tree cracking, if you can see the wind is going one way or the other, run. If you can get as far away as tall as a tree, then you have a good fighting chance. What people do wrong with honeybees specifically is this is not a mosquito. Mosquito is going to come for your blood, and that's what they're there for. And you swat them, you squish them, they're done. They don't have any other mechanisms to bite you. Where we get into bees and some other insects, everybody's being afraid of being bit because sure, it hurts and they're trying to protect themselves. I want you to think of one thing with honeybees specifically. When they choose to bite you, it's sticking their stinger in you and it's going to hurt for a long time to get it out. They die. This is the whole story I want you to hear. They die. So they have to be so concerned about the whole hive because they are a group insect. They are all about the queen and the other bees, and everybody works together. It is an amazing, and if you ever get a chance to talk to somebody who's probably a little bit older and learn so much. We've learned so much about building homes, building bridges, building this and this and this by watching honeybees and bees in general, because they work as a team. They work as a whole hive. And there's only one queen and she's giving the babies and then everybody else is working. It is a miraculous, wonderful thing to watch. And I guarantee you'll come away with some new work ethic because they show you a way to do it without overusing resources, without killing anybody, hopefully, and everybody survives and thrives. That's how that works in the honeybee world. You know how many people are afraid of that sound?
I know, it's crazy. We have some pictures. Let's just look at one for the moment. We're used to seeing bees flying around. This happens to be a daisy, I believe. What is this a honeybee, first of all, and what's it doing?
Well, it's getting all of that yellow is in this type of flower. It's a very, very, very thin piece of what do you want to call it? Petal. And I do a lot of drying of live plants. I don't leave them in the dirt. I mean, I cut them and do that. And so I'm learning more and more of what animals are dealing with. And this type of flower has really, really tiny pieces. So what they want to do, the honeybee is just groomed to do, this is the way they work, is they get all that pollen up and on their legs, up and on their body, all over their belly. And when they take that back to the hive, that's cross-pollination. That's how this works for bees. They don't grow their own flowers. They go see what is being grown. So for me, I talk about all the time how I have my entire front stairway to get to my front door. You got to go up a stairway. Is got plants all over it, because I know, having worked with honeybees and taught classes for a few years for youth and other people, it is all about leave them be, literally, and let them go from flower to flower. Because guess what? You're going to get more flowers. And so they're going to get something to eat. That's how they make the honey. And somewhere there's a beekeeper somewhere that is doing the same thing and then selling the honey. They don't take all the honey out of the hive, because that would be very unsportsmanlike, if you want to put it that way. But it doesn't do anybody any good. That's their food. That's what they do. So a good beekeeper comes up with a 50-50, at least partnership. And bees need water. Bees need flowers, because the pollen is in the flowers. These are things you can do, even if it's just one little flower you put out on your balcony or something, and just ignore them. That's the safest way to be around bees. Just don't. Whatever. Don't pester them. I always wish them well and say, thank you so much for coming to my flowers, because now there'll be more.
I love that. Now, here's a question I'm going to pose to you. And I shared this with you, I think 2 summers ago. I happened to be walking in this. It wasn't a honeybee. It was one of the ones with the hanging legs that you see. They're like, nee. And it's coming around. There's no flowers anywhere. I'm in I'm wearing black because I'm always covered up when I'm in the sun. And it lands like on me. And I'm thinking, this is not a flower. Okay.
It sounds like a mosquito.
No, it was definitely a bee. It was one of those with the yellow and the legs.
Okay, so that's in the bumble family.
Or a hornet. I don't know what, but it was coming toward me. So what do you do in that case?
Just to, for some people, any kind of insect bite can be lethal. And guess how they find out? They get bit and they end up in the hospital and all of those things that happen. Let's not do that. We'll have everybody walk away alive. So swatting at mini insects, they don't understand it. It's like a big wind tunnel to them or something. Try to move yourself out of the way. Try to figure out what it is. What a lot of people don't understand is, in today's, the way people dress, it's cologne it's perfume, it's baby oil, it's hair shampoo. All of these have what in common, Dr. Jacalyn?
There's the way they smell.
Yeah, they all have scent. They have some kind of scent. There are certain ones that will attract more bees. There are certain ones that you're going to get the mosquito. You're going to certain one. You're going to get a hornet. You're going to get a dog, a cat, something. There are scents that mean different to the natural world. So what you and I, who, if you want to wear something like this, please test run it before you go to that picnic that you're outdoors and all the honeybees decide to come and land on you because they think you're a flower. I mean, that's the God honest truth. It is misdiagnosing. They're like, oh, it smells like our favorite flower. And guess what? The bees die because the people panic, don't realize that their lotion or cream or foundation, whatever it is that has the scent that attracts the bees, you need to wash it off. Little soap and water will help, but soap and water will help more to really strip that away from yourself. But be aware, we do cause a great deal of the grief that happens in the natural world because we don't know. So watch your perfumes, watch your colognes, watch your lotions, and your shampoo. All of these have smell in them.
Absolutely. And I've learned that the hard way. You don't go paddleboarding wearing perfume. Not a good plan.
And if you're paddleboarding, you're just out there in the water. I'm sorry, you're jumping in.
I know that's where you're going. Let's take a look at this one. Now, is there some difference between this? Is this the same as this? No, they're different.
No, they're totally different bees. I'm not an expert at their names, but you might have them there on your slides. There is a different kind of bee depending on topography. You're not going to see the same in Alaska that you see in Hawaii, that you see in New Mexico, et cetera, et cetera.
So this bee, if we look at the other bee, I wish we could have them side by side.
A little more gold. Yeah.
Yes, more gold. And then the eye, let's look at this one's eye.
Yeah. More round in this one.
Yes. So, but it's the same thing. So the bee sticks its bee nose.
It actually acts like a long tongue, and it goes down and it picks up the pollen and the honey that is it's not honey at that point. It's a process that the bees do. They get the pollen all over their feet, their chest, their legs, and wherever they can get it. And then they go to another flower. And then that's how that flower now grows another flower. And then the next one and the next one. So what happens is you're taking pollen from one plant and you're sharing it with everybody. Now, a good light breeze might help too. But can you imagine how sticky pollen must be? Because it always sticks to their legs and their under abdomen. So then they go around and they're just doing their thing, getting more pollen, going to take it back to the hive and create honey. For some, not all bees do that. You have to have a bee, actually a honeybee, to do that.
Yeah. So what we're saying really is just leave the bees alone. Don't go around.
Exactly. Do you need to know if it's a wasp or a bee? Sure, go study and look at it. The wasps tend to be thinner and longer in leg. Tend to be. Okay, remember, every part of the world will change. And what I really want everybody to hear over and over and over is leave them be. Do what Dr. Jacalyn just said. Leave them be. Because they don't want anything to do with us. They know we're carnivores. I don't care if you're vegan or whatever. Our bodies are put together as carnivores. They're going to understand that we are a danger to them. But they also might not even see you coming because they're very, very busy with what they're doing. If you want good food, if you want the crops to grow, if you want the land to heal, you got to start with things like the honeybee. You've got to start at least there. And the next place I would always recommend is everybody plant something of their own. If it's in your house, if it's out of your house, if you're like me and I have no yard at this point, I have them on the stairway up to my front door. Happens to be a lot of stairs up to my front door. And Luckily, nobody complains about that they're going to get trip or fall with the plants. But I also know that I'm feeding just as many as possible insects and bugs and ants and things that come my way. And guess what, Dr. Jacalyn? I truly believe not only do I care for the soil and the roots of the plant, but why my plants flower continuously. Now, I am in California. It is a milder weather, but I know that when I am figuring out what that plant needs, then I'm also supporting the bees will come around and go, oh, wow, because I have a collection of sunflowers, and they're just little ones. They're not giant ones, but it's so neat. And I can't tell you how many times I've been watering or pulling the weeds out because I don't want the weeds to benefit from all the things I'm doing for the plant. Is I've run into a bee or I've run into something else and I'm like, oh, my bad. Sorry, didn't look for you. And, I don't care if the neighbors know. She's talking to herself again.
It's funny. I was watering the plants out front, and this one potted plant, it looks like it's sort of like from a palm family.
Mm.
And it was in with all these other plants. And I thought, that's weird. My mom didn't plant that there. I'm wondering where it came from. Well, it turns out that I don't know who, it was in a pot. And someone took the pot and stuck it in with all the other plants. But I was watering, and all of a sudden I see something moving. And in that pot was a toad. And I said,
Oh,
"Whoa, sorry, dude. I didn't know you were living in here."
exactly.
So
It was like rain lighter. Rain lighter.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
well, didn't know.
So here's what I wanted to discuss also, that the bee populations globally have been declining, and there's a lot of reasons for this. And it could be weather, it could be the way farmers are doing what they're doing, but it also can be because of chemicals. And what people don't realize is when you're spraying something, first of all, when you spray, the wind comes and it picks it up and it goes wherever. But a lot of the chemicals that people are using for lawn maintenance, or maybe it's to kill insects, can actually end up in the soil, and then they can be digested or ingested, which ingested and then digested, I guess, by the bees. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, we are in that dire strait of everywhere now has the possibility, and it's not like it didn't before, but we're so overusing our resources. Humanity is got to be the waste waste generation and species. That's the word I'm looking for. And species out there, because let's say we have this Kleenex and we throw it away because you dabbed it on your face. But I don't know you, I keep them until they're used up, especially if I'm home alone or something like that. How many things do we buy at the grocery store that come in a one-use container and it can't be recycled, or you don't recycle, whichever? It's not getting there. We have to. Humanity has to change the way they do things. It can't be any longer. And we're really, really doing better every single step every day. And I'm really encouraging everybody. It's not a hate fest or anything like that. If I come across that way, I apologize. We can use or reuse something. So many people, when I was growing up, we had the Cool Whip bowl, for Cool Whip. It was really yummy stuff that was put on food, or anything else that came in a lidded or container of some sort. We kept them. We kept the containers, and we'd hand wash them or dishwash them in the dishwasher, and then we'd use them for leftovers. It was really, really common. I've seen people do Ziploc bags for, let's say, bread or something where it's just a couple pieces. You do you and do what you can. But remember, everything we put in that trash can has to go somewhere. So what does that mean? Is it going into a landfill, which means it's just taking up soil and they're turning it over, hoping it dies in the soil? Is it blowing down the street? I know I hate that when I open the trash can or something like that, or I'm coming out goodness sakes, with a whole load of things for the trash or the recycle. And off goes the first paper or something. Man, I'm chasing that thing down for how many blocks that I got to get to it. Because everything we consume and don't deposit it in the proper place, it jeopardizes nature every moment it's out there. And that can be from the horrible stuff of saran wrap and foil, deadly stuff. Foil is never going to, I don't even know if it'll ever biodegrade, but anything in the wrapping paper or the bird, or what do I want to say? The bread bags, all of these types of things, even the clips. A lot of people don't realize they can be dangerous because some animal come over and God forbid it smells like food still, and they'll peck at it or try to eat it, and it could get lodged just like it would with us. So you have to remember there are steps in everything. And if you say, oh, that'll biodegrade into the ground. Well, in how many years or how many months or something like that? You have to be really cognizant of what you're doing, what you have. And I know for me, I'm really thrilled that I'm in a generation where we have not only a trash man that comes and picks up our trash waste, but recycle. We have a really good size recycle can, and we can put all of that in there. If you don't want to go down and get the money back from your Coca-Cola cans or your 7-Up cans or anything that, you can put those in there too, because it's recycling. And do we need to do better? Absolutely. I've heard some very unflattering comments about how the recycle centers are still having a really tough time getting everything recycled. And some of them are having reputations, not only in our state, but in other states where they're kind of sneaking things off to the side. Again, we all can do better. I just encourage everybody, you recycle, you take responsibility for that. That's all we can do.
Good points. Thank you. There are over 20,000 different species of bees. And from what I was reading, and I've heard this about food regulations over in the United Kingdom as well. But in the United Kingdom, I think it was in 2018, they actually banned 3 different type of insecticides. And I know
yay.
a lot of the things, the ingredients in food that we have here in the UK, they wouldn't even feed that to their horse. They'd be like, no, it's not happening. So what do we need to do you think, as a society, as a collective, to get some more eyeballs onto the fact that these products, that we know the names of them, obviously,
yeah,
you know, we had them in our garage for however long and didn't realize, but what can we do collectively? If we can't get legislation passed, what can we do? We see weeds popping up. You know, everybody wants their landscaping, their lawn, even your little area, whatever it is, you want it to look a certain way. How do you keep out the pests, which also have a role in society, but we don't want them pestering us or our ground? What do you suggest?
Well, we've got to do better on researching our own issues. There are things like lemon juice deters one. There's another one where you can smear, what was it? It was a cream, but it was an ingredient like molasses. And it's not molasses because that's really yummy to lick up. I understand. I haven't tried it lately. But there's so many things out there that the natural world goes, oh, yeah, no, we're not doing that. For example, let me use pets, for example. You will get, cats are a little more skittish typically than dogs. Not always, but typically. We're going to just use that as a thing. So if you crunch up just a piece of paper, you know, came off the copy machine or could go in the copy machine or whatever it is, and you wrap it and you squish it all up and you throw it and your cat looks at you like, are you kidding? That's the first sign. and they go, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this, but let's say they come over and you bring it over to the tile instead of the carpet, and you start kicking it around and the cat starts chasing it, and everybody's light bulb goes on and says, oh, it's a game. This is what we've got to do with our chemicals, the things we eat, and all the waste we create. What I was really disappointed on, and I haven't relooked at this in at least 6 months, so I would love to hear from somebody that things have changed in their area at least. But what I was really disappointed is when I would take the Coke cans or the 7-Up cans. I don't particularly drink them, but I have a lot of people around me who do. And I'm like, great, you don't want to recycle them? I will. And take them to the recycle center, and then find out that 50% or 90% of what they're taking in to recycle is not actually getting recycled around, because of 100 different reasons, it seems like, and all valid. They don't have the machinery for it. They don't have a company who wants the recycled pieces after the fact. There's so many things we can reimagine. We don't have to have all our signs metal or all our signs cardboard or something. That is what we need to encourage our elected staff and all of the people that are on some kind of committee, or your governor or your mayor or your anybody who's in the process or has the ability to change rules, laws, and the way we look at things. I remember when we first got our recycle cans, whatever years ago, and you had at the best, a 50-50 chance that anybody was going to put anything in there. But now that more people do it, and it's more common, and it's actually a positive thing, that is going to get people to change the way they do things. Do we have a long ways to go? Sure. But just realize it's the same thing if I come up to you and say, hey, you can't kill all the rattlesnakes. I know you live in the desert, but you can't kill them all. They all need to be there. Oh, but I don't like them. Education. Why do some of us recycle like crazy and some people don't bother at all? Maybe they've decided that it doesn't really matter. And I can see the frustration there with our politics and things going back and forth. Oh, we're going to recycle, we're not going to recycle, whatever. We can all do better. I can do better, you can do better, but let's start with sharing the information about, please don't kill the honeybee. It's super, super important, because every single thing that we eat, our pets eat, the guy next door eats, the girl next door eats, whatever, all starts with a honeybee. It all starts with a honeybee. So if you can give them a safe place to live, hallelujah. And you can buy boxes, you can make boxes. For me, I incorporate my flowers. I choose flowering plants 99% of the time, because the bees all get to go from one to another and one to another. And it's my whole stairway. I have never, ever been stung. And have I almost been? Probably. But I actually picked up one of the bees because she was under one of the leaves. And I thought it was a leaf that had fallen off and gotten wet. And that creates a mold issue. And so I always remove all those. So I gently, because I was dealing with a leaf, I'm gently moving out, and she pops up the back. And I went, well, hello. I'm sorry to disrupt you. So I put the leaf back and walked away. Have I been stung? Yes. I used to teach a class for youth and I've talked about this in other episodes, on honeybees. We brought them out to a park that has a history building and all kinds of things. So it worked into their education program. And a beekeeper and I got the kids together, whoever wanted to bring their kids. And it was wonderful because we let them eat the honey, of course. Yes. And we were able in those 2 years, I hope, because I saw the progress with the kids going from totally frightful of bees, of this, oh, they're going to sting me, they're going to bite me, and getting that correct language. First of all, they don't bite, they don't have any teeth. That's not a thing. Their little butt gets you. And they're trying to protect themselves. What I want people to hear over all of this is they do not want to sting you. This is my mantra. This is my go-to. They do not want to sting you because, why, Dr. Jacalyn? You've heard this.
Because they're going to die.
Because they're going to die. I don't know about you. I don't think, that's the plan of a honeybee. Now, you remember, it's an insect. It's a very, very small life as far as what they do, how they do it, and they do it over and over and over and over. And they have all that wonderful pollen on their body. They go to another flower, and we get more flowers. How's that bad? But if we decide, because we haven't learned about it, we haven't asked somebody, you haven't had a chance to listen to us talk about it here and grow your strength of going, you know what? You stay there. I'm going to go over here. You do this, I do this, and we'll both have flowers. There's got to be a give and take. But overall, we have got to work together. We must work together because everything depends on every single insect, bug, person, bear, all of them. They all deserve the right to live the way they were put together by God, by their nature, by everything. It's not up to us to say, hey, too bad to be you. I'm going to kill you anyway. Well, you're going to be really hungry in a few years because this is going to have a ripple effect. If there isn't any bees, enough girls to give birth and the boys to pollinate and on, well, I hope you like, I don't know, eating whatever's left of the trees, because this does matter for our waterways, for our trees, for our plants. Everything is connected. And
Hence,
we right now are the giant, terrible ogres.
That's right. That's why we have the name of the show, Coexistence and Sustainability. I want to let you know that the United Nations has deemed May 20th as World Bee Day.
That's wonderful. And you'll see the Audubon might have a different date. This one have a different date. Hopefully they all get on one date. But the idea was at least everybody was starting to do something. So that's great. I did not know that a big organization like that had gotten involved. That's wonderful.
It's amazing. I'm just going to read some of the actions that are being recommended here by the UNEP.org. And you've hit on these for the most part anyway. Here's some actions you can take to help preserve bees and other pollinators. Plant nectar-bearing flowers such as marigolds or sunflowers for decorative purposes. You already mentioned that. Buy honey and other hive products from your local beekeeper. You mentioned that. Raise awareness among children and adolescents on the importance of bees and express your support for beekeepers. You have that. Set up a pollinator farm on your balcony, terrace, or garden. You mentioned that. Preserve old meadows, which feature a diverse array of flowers, and sow nectaring plants. Okay, that's it, depending if you have the property. Cut grass on meadows only after nectar-bearing plants have finished blooming. Okay, that applies if you have meadows. And use pesticides that do not harm bees and spray them in windless weather, either early in the morning or late at night when bees are withdrawn from blossoms. So can you also tell us, when are bees out and about primarily? Are we going to see them at 2 a.m. in darkness?
No, you're going to see the warmth of the day. What happens if you think about a flower, this is what they're eating. Some flowers don't open up until the warmth of the day when the sun is midway at noon, give or take a couple hours on both sides. So you'll get some flowers, not sunflowers, that will only open at a certain time. So that's where you're going to really, if you want to go bee watching, which I love to do, because a lot of times I'm working and I'm sitting on the stairway doing whatever I'm doing with my plants, and the bees will come and I'll go, oh, hi, how are you? I'm so glad you came. Because guess what? That's how the pollen moves from plant to plant. If you want more flowers, you need honeybees. That's really important. So there's a lot going on, and they have it naturally in their DNA and their thought process, the way they work. They know, okay, the storm's coming. Let's go all tuck in. Let's do this. Let's do that. They try not to get caught into storms, they're awfully little. It would be pretty bad. So if you really want to know what's going on, I'd check a honeybee out.
So let's just review for people who maybe are just joining us. I see a number of people have logged on recently. You are outside and you see a swarm of bees and
Oh,
you
my
start
favorite.
batting them around.
Nope.
You scream at them, get out. What do
Because
you
they
do?
learned English, Spanish, or Italian lately. But your concern is a big warning to them. So let's say you have the sweetest, happy puppy, whatever, and you get a person who walks in who is angry and scared and all these negative feelings. The dog's going to look at you and go, I'm not sure who messed that guy up, but I'm going this way because I don't want anything to do with it. They can feel that. Now, bees are not quite as sensitive as a canine, but they're not idiots either. They have a very strict thing. They're going to go to the flowers. They're going to get the pollen. They're going to repollinate all the other flowers, so more flowers are there. What they're doing, everything they're doing, is vital not to their own existence, but also to the ecosystem. So the point I'm trying to get across to everybody is, please leave them alone. Don't swat them. When you are frightened of something, everybody's frightened of something, from the dark to the boogeyman to somebody coming around the corner to whatever. I've seen women hold their purses in stores like nobody's ever going to get it, but they had a bad experience or they have a fear of that experience because somebody else in their family had it. Whatever your fear is, that's okay. You'll work on that when it's time. But what I don't want you to do is take it out on the insects. If somebody can explain mosquitoes to me, I'm there. But with bees, they have a plan. They have a direction that they go from here to here. This is their flowers, there's their hive. They don't weave around. Now, are there bees that do look for new plants? Yes. And those are very specific bees in the whole hive. They have different missions. They have different plans. Somebody's for the water, somebody's for the honey. Everybody has a job. That's why they are successful. So just think about it. If you decide to take one out, you don't know if you just took out Bob, the best builder on the planet, and the bees have to wait till another one hatches in a cocoon and comes out, or they don't thrive. When we go around using chemicals such as Roundup, I used to too, this stuff blows in the wind and it kills everything in that path. So please, please, please find a different way. Find a different way to handle animals that are frightening for you, or you, God forbid, it could kill you. Some people with bee stings have that problem, and we want everybody to be safe and the animals to be safe. But you've got to think of a different way to say, hey, you're there, I'm going to go sit over there, and wish everybody well. Because the good positive energies that you can carry do far more than the anger, hate, and being afraid. Being afraid is one of the most undependable behavior and emotion that we have, because there's no logic to it. Most people are angry for a reason, and there's a path to get back and or forward. But when you're afraid, it doesn't matter if it's baseless or spot on. How you handle fear can be a huge, huge healing process. I highly recommend it. I am a certified first responder. And one of the first things, we go to a lot of classes on CPR, AED, all of Bandage 101 and 101. But through all of that, it's about keeping our emotions in check. Because you come up on somebody who's broken a leg, needs a doctor, God forbid they're bleeding excessively, or you have an argument turning into a fist fight. All of these I've had to referee. And if you cannot pull in your own emotions about it, it makes the situation harder. And it's the same thing with nature. If we don't figure out how to love the honeybee alive, we're going to be very hungry. Very, very hungry.
I love what you just shared. And I do want to share something before we close out. But as a result of doing these shows with you, I was saying in the beginning before you were here, I have learned so many things that I didn't know anything about. I was really naive and uneducated. And as a result, here in this house, in this studio, I have seen two lizards,
Wow.
two lizards that got in somehow, because it is Florida, so they can get in.
It is Florida.
And there's nobody here, but in the past, I would have been screaming and yelling and getting a broom and maybe calling a neighbor. And instead, in each case, I literally went over to where the lizard was,
Mhm.
and I said, hello. I don't want to hurt you, and I don't think you want to hurt me. And I really think it's best for both of us if you move along. Move. I don't know where you're going to go. I don't know how you came in. And then the thing, they just disappeared. I don't know where they went.
Yeah.
And I had the same thing. You know, we get these worms down here. I think we talked about centipedes. It's not a centipede. And it was coming towards the bedroom. And I went out there and I said, hello.
Yeah, I love this timeout.
This, like, I'm literally having conversations. I mean,
exactly.
It's one way. It's not a conversation, and then eventually it went off the other way, and I don't know where it went, but I'm not killing it because it has a right to be here too.
Well, and let me pull out the actual things that you are doing is not freaking out and screaming your head off, because animals understand stress and craziness and, you know, screaming and being afraid. They absolutely know all about that. So can you imagine if you walk into a room and somebody's doing the screaming? I'm always wondering, is like, okay, does she need medicine, or do we have a creepy, you know, break-in burglar or something? So everybody's looking at, how do I quantify this? How do I react to this? You will live longer and a more peaceful life without migraines and headaches and pain when we get our fear intact. I'm not saying you get over it or you have to do this or no. I'm just saying, if you understand where your fear come from, then it helps you to take the baby steps of saying, you don't get to live here. And that's what you did, Dr. Jacalyn. That makes me so thrilled that you are able to say, no, I don't need to kill you anymore, but you definitely don't live here. And then you find out how'd they get in. Maybe you had the door open while you're bringing groceries in and out. I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody, one lady I worked with called me a couple years ago and said, I have a dog in my house. And I said, oh, that's nice. You got a dog. And she's like, no, I got a dog in my house and I do not know what to do. It's not my dog. And so I walked her through it. She had a cell phone. And so we walked her through it and told her what to do and how she can do it. And yeah, I can do that by phone. I have enough experience and I can hear what she's going through. And we got him out. And it was very funny. And I think she called me 3 months later and said, you know what, that dog is my new neighbor. I got to meet the new neighbor because he kept coming over and I figured out how to keep him out of my house. So there is a way. So thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, for sharing your side of it, because that's why I do this, is to help everybody understand there is a conversation we are missing so many times. And it can be as simple as that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pet Psychic AMINAH. We're going to take a look at your website, which is on the screen right now. And the website is bridgingworlds.us, like United States, US. Tell us a little bit about what people can find here on your site.
Well, since you have the open side up, hang on. If you cannot make it scroll. So what people don't see is in my pages, this is the only one I've hidden an animal in. And it's because this fence is a patio above, almost pretty much above my head. And it's on my neighbor's, this is my neighbor's house. And so I was going to visit them and help them with some stuff years ago. They now have moved, so it's somebody else. But if we could move the words apart, I want everybody to know, can you find the orange tabby?
We can't move him.
Yeah. Well, but when you see this in person, you will be able to see beyond the words
Right here.
is an orange tab. There you
There
go.
it is.
Yeah,
So
she ducked her head
cute.
down perfectly for me, and I was like, "Oh," and thank God for cell phones, because this is like 7 years ago.
She's a
And
cutie.
and it came out so sweet, and she just looked at me, and I said, "Hi, kitty." And yes, I talk to every single animal and bug that goes through my path. But when I was in the process of building, when you're building your brand, you're building, this, you know what I'm talking about. I love the greens. That's why it's so funny when you came up with this background for us, when lime green is my favorite color. She didn't know that, everybody. She didn't know that when she made the glass films for our show. But Bridging Worlds is about me helping everybody with that conversation. And this wonderful little orange tabby sat there for 3 pictures.
Do we have her anywhere else on here?
No, nowhere else. I didn't use her anywhere else. I wanted it to be special, and see how many people would comment on it. And people do comment on it. It's like, "Oh, and I saw the kitty. Is that your kitty?" I said, "No, it's my neighbor's kitty."
Really cute. And here
Well,
are the
yeah, and the
social.
bougainvillea, as you know, has spikes. So I'm
Yes.
thinking, you're a brave child.
Here's ways that people can connect with you right here on social media. We've got one of the shows here that we did about what happens when you feed wildlife. That was a great episode. And
Was.
then here you're going through how you can actually help people. And I know personally that you have tremendous value that you are bringing to the world every day. So just share with people. You can help our audience if they have a loved one, a pet, even humans. You can help them to process any type of feelings that they're going through, maybe answer any questions that they have. Why don't you tell us directly instead of me telling them what you do?
Yeah, what Dr. Jacalyn is inferring to, and I'll put a name to it, is I not only talk to animals anywhere. The bugs are a little bit tough; their vocabulary is pretty limited, and the pets I get the quickest contact with, virtually or in person, is the ones where their pet owners talk to them. And I know, Dr. Jacalyn, you probably talk to your dog. I talk to all my plants and animals, and it gives them that education on language, on what we mean when we tell our dog sit, and they go, "What are you talking about?" And they run away. Well, you had to teach them the word sit, much less what happens with sit. So I've been very, very fortunate to work with animals my whole life, wildlife when I was younger. And also, what happened with my gift, it grew in that I can talk to people who have died and passed on. Now, remember, everybody, animals, mineral, vegetable, yourself, myself, we all have free choice to do so, to talk to somebody. And I ask that of anybody I get to be introduced. It doesn't matter what you and I want and what you want to know. If it is not healthy for you, or if it's not possible, whoever you've asked me to talk to will tell me. Sorry, I can't do that. Have I been told what it is? Once, months later, the person who had passed came back and said, "I really wanted you to know what's going on." And what it did is it just reinforced that the person that was grieving from their death, this would not have helped them in any way. It would have done the opposite. And I am not in that part of the job, is to do harm. So remember, whatever it is, it must be better for you not to know. But if you want to know, we as psychics will do the best we can, and with the information we're given. It's not about us. We're just the mouthpiece. And for me, I also have a college education in communication, but also in public speaking. So I really, really enjoyed, Dr. Jacalyn, what we've been doing here. It has been so much fun, and fun to go back and see our growth and all the things we've been working on with the background and the tides, and just the team I'm with is amazing, absolutely amazing. Maybe I lost her. I don't know, everybody. We say 1, 2, 3. Where's Dr. Jacalyn? Okay. Well, I really appreciate everybody being here with me. And I am going to sign off and wish you all well. If you need help with your pets, please let me know.
Well, that was the strangest thing. StreamYard just shut down, so I apologize. I don't know what happened there, but it's great to have technology glitches. So thank you everyone for watching, for hopefully learning some lessons and taking away crucial lessons with you about the role of honeybees in our ecosystem. Please to reach out to Pet Psychic AMINAH. Here is her information. We were showing her website. You can find her over on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. And then, of course, we were looking at bridgingworlds.us, where you can learn more about the services that she provides. Again, she is a pet psychic. She's also a speaker, a trainer, and a real advocate for everything in terms of coexistence and sustainability. So you can book a session with her if you have any animals that have passed, or maybe you have animals that are not doing well, or maybe just wondering what's going on with your dog or your cat, their behavior. And of course, she's an expert in all types of wildlife as well. So thank you again for watching. We really appreciate you being here. Please go to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio, and subscribe. You can also find us on Roku Worldwide, USA Global TV and Radio, and Amazon Fire, USA Global TV and Radio. Thank you again. Have a beautiful weekend, and we look forward to being back next week with another topic. Until then, take good care of yourselves. Bye. This program has been brought to you in part by Zane Carson Carruth, etiquette and protocol expert, international award-winning author, television show host, and philanthropist. Thank you to Zane, our official diamond sponsor for USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Zane is the author of The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever, as well as many other children's books. She's also the television host of Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living, seen on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
To learn more about Zane, contact her through her website, zanecarruth.com. ZANECARRUTH.com. Order Zane's books and merchandise. Contact her about being a keynote speaker at your next event.